It's been just over 2 years since Gran Turismo 7 was released, and people are often talking about if it's being supported well by Polyphony. Are they releasing enough cars into the game? Are the cars any good, or are they junk? So I decided to go through all 70 cars that have been released since the game came out, to rank them on a tier list and see which ones are good and which ones are not so good. Let's do it. So I'll be going through chronological order of every car that's been released in GT7 after launch. There is a lot of cars to get through, so I'm going to go pretty fast. If you disagree with my opinions, totally fine. Please let me know in the comments below, preferably nicely, or not. I don't mind. Also, if you like the video, feel free to like. Anyway, let's start. The first car to be released in the game was the Subaru BRZ. It's the same as the Toyota GT86. It's fine, it's boring, the same car's already in the game. I gave it a C tier. The next car was also a Subaru BRZ, but it was the race GT300 version. This is raced in Japan in Super GT. It's got lots of grip and historically has been fairly slow in a straight line. I won a GT World Series race in this car once. And also, it's won a world final, I'm pretty sure. It's won the world championship. So for that, it gets a B tier. The next car is a Suzuki Cappuccino. It's cute, it's little. I gave it a B. I want more little cars in Gran Turismo 7. Next car is a Toyota GR010 Hybrid. This car's won Le Mans. It's got four-wheel drive and lots of torque steer. I gave it an A. Next is the Roadster Shop Rampage. This is the first of our GT award winners from the SEMA Motor Show. And this thing looks kind of crazy. It's got big power, but not a lot of grip. I gave it a C. Next, we have a bunch of Suzukis. We have the Suzuki Vision GT. This is a Vision GT car. It doesn't exist in real life, and it's a good thing because it's a hatchback, but it looks pretty scary if you flip it. I gave it a C. We also have the other Suzuki Vision GT car. This is the Group 3 version. It's got a short wheelbase. It's kind of oversteery, and I gave it a C. Next is the best Suzuki though. It's a Suzuki Escudo. This is an OP car. It's iconic to Gran Turismo. In Gran Turismo 3, you can make it do a wheelie and it would do it would break the speed of light and it would break the game. It was amazing. I had to drive it once at Willow Springs for a world final. I didn't enjoy that, but otherwise, I've enjoyed every other time in this car. I give it an S. Next, we have the 1932 Ford Roadster. This is super old. It is a cool engine noise. It's not very good at turning corners. I give it a D. And then we have the Maserati A6 GCS. I could not buy this car as it was not in the legendary car store when I wanted to test drive it. It's got a pretty cute design, but only 160 horsepower, which is not a lot. I gave it a D. Next is the Porsche 918 Spider. This is a really pretty car. It's got lots of speed, but you also have to brake a kilometer before the corner when I was driving it. It's got a really cool engine noise. I also remember it from some Need for Speed game that I cannot remember at the moment. I gave it a B. Next, we have the Nissan Skyline Super Silhouette Group 5 car. This is from Gran Turismo 2, I'm pretty sure. It's got big turbo lag, and it's somehow in the Group 3 category, but it's bopped to death, so don't drive it. I gave it a C. Next is a real Formula 1 car, and it was driven by Ayrton Senna. It is the McLaren MP44. It's got weird gearing with the turbo. It's one of those cars in Gran Turismo that you can double shift out of corners because it's better to pull 2 gears at once and wait for the turbo. It's really weird, but the car's awesome. I gave it an A. Next is the Porsche Cayman. It's a little Porsche. It's mid-engined. It's nice to have the road version of the Group 4 car that I raced a lot in GT Sport. B tier. The Pontiac GTO is called the Judge. It's another legendary car that was not available. It's a classic muscle car. I gave it a D. And we also have the Di Tommaso Mangusta. The Dior version of this car was released, but I could not buy it. So I got the boring one, and it's a legendary car that I actually bought, which is pretty cool. It's got a cool rear end of this car, and I think it's fine. I gave it a C. Next is the first of our Silvias. It's the Nissan Silvia K's Type S S14 from 1994. This is an S14, and it was in the used car store, and I don't own it, but I own 4 other Silvias in this game, so I gave it a D. Next is the Volkswagen ID.R. This is an awesome car. It's a hill climb car. It's electric. It only has 1 gear and a DRS rear wing. I gave it an S. Next is the Porsche Vision Gran Turismo Spider. It's really similar to the other Porsche Vision GT car in this game, but it's got no roof. It's fully electric, and your driver has to wear a very funny helmet while he drives. I gave it a B. The Nissan GTR Nismo is a GT3 car. It's the newer, but still honestly pretty old version of the GTR Nismo from GT Sport. It is slightly less of a boat than the old one. I gave it a B. B for boat. Next is the Maserati Merak SS. This is another legendary car that I could not buy at the time. It's a Maserati from the early 80s. It is the V6 engine that it borrowed from a Citroen, and for that it gets a C. C for Citroen. Next is the Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR. This is a legendary car that I could not buy. It's got a weird kind of back to it. I did find another 2000 GTR that I already own that is much less rare, and I really like it. I think these cars are kind of cool, but I gave this version of it a C. Next is the Mazda Roadster. This is a Mazda MX-5. It's the same as the rookie car in iRacing. It comes in a few different liveries, and people love the MX-5. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I respect it. I gave it a C. Next is the BMW M2 Competition, and this car I do really like. It's used in production car racing a lot. If you ever want to win the Bathurst 6 Hour, this is the car that you have to buy. It's an A rank. The Silvia RS500 Cosworth is from the used car dealership, but it was not available when I filmed this, and it's a cool old touring car. It's used in rally and touring car racing. It's pretty iconic. Watching down in Australia, I gave it a B. We have another Nissan Silvia. This is the S14 from 1996. It was in the used car dealership, but it was sold out, so that was rude, and for that I gave it a D. Next is the Alfa Romeo GT AM Giulia. It's really pretty. It's an Alpha. I think these cars are slightly underrated. I gave this an A. We have the Bugatti Chiron. This is the Bugatti Veyron successor. It's got quad turbo W16 engine. It goes extremely fast in a straight line, like probably the fastest car. I don't know anymore. It's not very good in corners though. And maybe a hot take, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I gave it a B. Next is the Chevrolet Corvette C8 Stingray. This is one of like 8 Corvettes in GT7. This new one is the first one to be mid-engined, and I feel like it's kind of lost a bit of the vibe of the old Corvettes. I gave it a C. We have the Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo. This is a crazy car. It's hybrid. It was not what I was expecting when I heard Vision GT from Ferrari. It was unveiled at the World Finals. This is a B tier. The Toyota Celica GT4 is the rally car from the mid-90s. It is from Sega Rally, and it's goated. It's a really good car. I like this. It's an A. The Ital Design X Neo Vision GT car. There's 2 versions that were released with this patch. There was a road version and an off-road version. 4-wheel drive. It looks like a future moon buggy. It's a C tier. And next was the Citroen DS21. This is French. It's an old Citroen. It's kind of boring, but the headlights turn when you turn the wheel. So D. The Porsche 911 Carrera RS from 1973. It's like 7 911s in GT7, and no offense Porsche, but that's maybe too many. So this is a cool car, but it's the same as all the other 911s. I gave it a C. Next is the Honda RA272. This is an old Honda F1 car. It was raced in a GT World Series race at like Watkins Glen like a week ago, so you may have raced it. And I like racing in chase cam in this because you can see the back end doing all its things. It's also a V12, which is very cool. A. Porsche 959 is the road version of the rally car that won the Paris-Dakar Rally. It was originally built to meet the Group B specs before Group B went the way of the dinosaurs. And it's also a legendary car that I can't buy, so I gave it a B. B for Group B. Next is a Porsche Carrera GTS 904. This is another Porsche. It's a fair bit older. The race version of this car won the Targa Florio, and it's another legendary car I can't buy. A C. Next car is a Mazda 3. It's just a Mazda 3. It's fine. I gave it a D. The Audi RS5 Turbo is one of the last DTM cars that was made before it turned into a GT3 category, which kind of sucks. It's very cool. It is DRS and is basically the same specs as the GT500 class in Japan. It was raced at Class 1, I think it was, and they raced against each other once in Fuji. This car is really fun to drive in Gran Turismo. I gave it an S. The Toyota Alphard Executive Lounge is a lounge on wheels, and I want one in real life. And the one I bought in GT7, I did all of like the weight reduction, and it drives basically like a Group 4 car. It's very good. I gave this one an S tier. Next is the Dallara Super Formula SF23. This is a car you race if you're from Japan or if you win Formula 2. This is a cool car. It has overtake, and there's a Honda and a Toyota version. They're the same, and it's pretty much the fastest open wheeler in the game. It has a weird snap oversteer at speed though. If you drive through Puon or through 100R at Fuji, it'll like want to snap on you. It's weirdly scary. I gave this an A. Next is a Mercedes AMG GT3 from 2020. This is a modern GT3 car. It's got a cool engine note, very growly. We need more race cars in this game. I gave this an A. We also have the Jaguar XJ220. This is a car that's been in basically every Gran Turismo, but it's a legendary car that I cannot buy at the moment, but it's also iconic. I gave it a B. Next, the Nissan Skyline GTR R32 from 1990. It's a Skyline. There's like 40 of them in this game. It's fun though. It's four-wheel drive. It's a classic Gran Turismo car. B tier. B tier. Weird. Forgetting how words work. Next is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint from 1967. This is a tiny little old Alfa. It's miraculously was available in the used car dealership for me. It's got a little engine. It's very cute, but otherwise, I gave it a D. The Greening Auto Company Maverick is another SEMA GT Award winner. This is based off an old Ford Maverick. It is 1,200 horsepower and it does over 300 kilometers an hour, which is very fast. I gave this a B. Next, we have the Mitsubishi Evo 3. This is one of many, many Evos in Gran Turismo 7. The third Evo is kind of a forgettable one for me, I'd say, but it's also technically the one that Tommy Mäkinen won with, so C tier. Next, we have the Subaru Impreza Sedan WRX from 04. It's basically similar to the Evo, but like a decade later. I think this is like my second favorite Impreza. It was driven in the WRC by like Peter Solberg and Chris Atkinson from the time. I gave this an A. Next, we have the Aston Martin Valkyrie. This is a crazy car. It was designed with help from Adrian Newey. It's really difficult to drive fast and an unpopular opinion, but I think it's kind of ugly. But as Taylor Swift says, it's an Aston Martin, you can steer into a ditch, so I gave it a B. Next is the Maserati MC20. This car is underrated, and I think it looks good, and it sounds good, and it goes fast, and I gave it an A. There are a lot of cars. We're getting through it, slowly. Okay, back to it. The Corvette C1 is an old Corvette. It's kind of nice. It's a legendary car I can't buy. D tier. And then we have the Toyota Ambulance High Medic. This car is it's a literal ambulance, and also it's free, and I love it. This is the kind of content I want in my racing games. S tier. Next is the Toyota GR Corolla. This car is awesome, released after the GR Yaris. It's a GR version of the Corolla. I love it. I won't win in real life. Driving it makes me feel like Carlos Sainz Sr., and it gets an A. Next, we have the Honda Civic Type R from 2022. It feels straight out of a Fast and Furious movie. Front wheel drive, it has VTEC. B tier. We also have the Mazda 3 Group 4 car. It's from the Super Taikyu series. Looks kind of cool. I like the livery. It gets a B. The Garage RCR Civic is another Civic, but it is another SEMA winner as well. This one's been swapped for a K24. It's got 400 horsepower and it has a wide body. It gets an A. Next, we have the Dodge Charger from 1968. This is an old Dodge Charger. It's iconic looking. It's another legendary car I can't buy. I gave it a C. We also have the Dodge Challenger Demon from 2018. It is a car that I can buy. It's very mean looking, and you can put like 1 million upgrades on it, and it'll do about 1 billion horsepower and will not turn around any corners. Also stock, it is a sub 10-second car, which is very fast. I gave this a B. Next is the Lexus LFA. This is a car that's been asked for by everyone who plays Gran Turismo. Top Gear once said this is the best car of all time. It's got a crazy engine note. It looks sick. And why does Lexus not make cars like this anymore? I gave it an S. Next is the Mercedes-Benz 190E. This is an iconic old Merc. It's a legendary car I can't buy, but it is pretty cool. I gave it a C. And we also have the Nismo 400R. It's another iconic car that we cannot buy. And also, don't get it confused with the 400Z, which is what I almost did. It's also like 1.8 million credits in GT7 for some reason. I gave it a C. Next is the Porsche 911 992. This is the modern 992 version of the 911. It's very fast, but it's also one of like 20 911s in Gran Turismo 7. It gets a B. After that, we have the Tesla Model 3. Tesla's a lame. This car kind of sucks. It looks like a fridge. I gave it a D. And we also have the Suzuki Jimny. And the Jimny is cool. It's really sick. It's not like those fake four-wheel drives that you take the kids to school in. This is a four-wheel drive that's like, it looks ready to drive like over a boulder. Everybody loves the Jimny. I gave this an S. Next, we have the Genesis VGT car. It's a super turbo. It's kind of whatever looking. I gave it a C. And then we have the Bulgari VGT car. This is based off a watchmaker. It's an interesting choice. Looks better than what you'd think, but I also gave it a C. Then we get to the Mitsubishi Evo 9. This is like one of 90 Evos in the game, but it's my favorite. It's also the last Evo to be built with the 4G63 engine. Very sad. It gets an A. Then we have the Renault R4. This is a little old Renault I picked up at the used car lot. Apparently the world's first hatchback. And it gets a C. Then we have the Audi TT S from 2009. This is the second generation of the TT. I love the TT, but I don't think the Gran Turismo 7 needs 3 different versions of it. They're all basically the same. That gets a D. We have another Audi in the Audi R8 Coupe V10 from 2016. This is another Audi, but it's an R8 and it's a V10. Everybody loves the V10. It gets a B. Our final 2 cars to be released are the Toyota GT1 from 1999. This is awesome. This is from like Gran Turismo 2. It's an iconic Gran Turismo car. I could not buy it in the Legendary car store, I just missed it, but it's awesome. It gets an S tier. And finally, the Lamborghini Urus. This is basically an Audi Q7. It's easy to hate and it's pretty wild looking, but I honestly think it's already kind of pretty iconic. I gave it an A. Hi again, it's me from the future. They release new cars. They release new cars since I recorded this. Anyway, the new cars, the first one is it's made by Sony and Honda, which is pretty cool. It's called the Afeela prototype and it looks kind of boring. And it is kind of boring, but it's also made by Sony, which is kind of vaguely interesting. So for that, I gave it a C. We also got a Chevrolet Chevelle Sport Coupe. It's a muscle car, looks kind of cool. I gave it a C as well. And then we got the Skoda Vision GT car. I know people don't really like Vision GT cars a lot at the moment, but I think this looks kind of cool and I kind of like Skodas. So for that, I gave this a B. Back to past me. Cool, so that's like every car that's been released in Gran Turismo 7 since the game came out. It's a lot of cars. I think I'm gonna go lie down for a long time. But thanks for listening. If you disagree with the tier list, once again, let me know. Or if you agree with it, let me know. Also, I'll try and put a link for it below so you can like do your own tier list as well. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week and like and subscribe and I'll see you next time. Okay, goodbye.